It's time for the 49ers Rush podcast. And here's your host, John Chapman.
All right, welcome to another episode of the 49ers Rush podcast. I'm your host, John Chapman, and man, do we have some recent developments that we got to talk about right off the bat. I'm sure, wherever you're joining us, whether that's Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, YouTube, Twitch, we're all over the place now. We're going to be getting lots of questions today about health. There are two significant injuries that have kind of taken place since the game ended. One was the Kyle Juszczyk injury, where we found out it was going to be a knee sprain. An MCL sprain is the technical term that we got back. That's a 4 to 6 week timetable. We talked about on the Instant Reaction show the things that we were wanting to hear. The words we wanted to stay away with Juszczyk was ACL. The next worst thing was MCL, which is what it ended up being. So good news is we get him back. So he's going to come back. But it's 4 to 6 weeks timetable, which is gigantic, especially the fact that we already had our bye week. So, for these players, you're kind of looking week 12 to 13. And whenever I say these players, obviously everybody's jumping on, oh boy, Mike McGlinchey. If we were going to be having kind of a worst-case scenario on injuries, if we go back and almost went through and dug through past episodes and said, these are the positions where the least depth exists, the offensive tackle position was number 1 overall. It is not even close, and now we're out both tackles. So Staley, obviously, fractured his leg. He's still out. Now Mike McGlinchey, he got rolled up on it. He came back in and actually played the game. He went out for a couple plays. Brunskill came in for like 6 snaps, and then McGlinchey came back and finished the game. He got rolled up on actually by a guy that Kyle Juszczyk decleated, power cleaned him into the back of McGlinchey. So that's kind of a big deal there. He had his knee scoped, and he is out an additional 4 to 6 weeks. So that's the bad news. And we're going to talk more about the adjustments and things like that, but we're also going to jump into a little bit more detailed perspective of the win over the Browns just from the offensive side. So lots of stuff to get to today, and on top of that, I've got something special for you guys. Y'all ready for this? This is for our viewing audience, so if you're listening to this wherever, traditional podcast, just audio, that's okay. But I wanted to go ahead and step up my game. Here we go. Let's see it. And boom, check that out. If you guys are joining us where video is available, I put together about 15 to 20 offensive plays that I'm going to be talking about. Now, this isn't going to be my X's and O's breakdown episode. That's coming later this week. But I kind of wanted to create my own little highlight reel off of the coaches' footage, the end zone, and the all-22 to highlight just different plays and kind of see what's going on. So enjoy those. That's just on a loop going throughout the rest of the podcast. So that is there for you guys. Look at us getting all professional with video and all that stuff that is there. Now, as always, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate. Just throw those up in the chat there. I'd be happy to get to those. But so let's stay with this whole McGlinchey news thing, because as of today, I don't think it's going to change either. The offensive tackles for the 49ers going into our first divisional game against the defending division champs and NFC champs, if you will, the Los Angeles Rams. Our tackles are, wait for it, Daniel Brunskill on the right side and Justin Skule on the left side. Now, Skule played great. He had a very, very good game, back-to-back good games. If you just look at the penalties that took place in week 3, then he had the bye week to prepare for week 5. He played wonderful. We didn't really have any concerns there. Garrett got a couple pressures against him, but that's it. The sack that Garrett got was actually against McGlinchey on the right side, offensive right side, coming off the defensive left. So, I guess the best news is this. If there is a major weakness of the Rams defense, which it's not a solid defense, it really isn't. They have amazing aggressive corners. They have pretty good depth at safety, even though they have some injuries, and we'll have an entire episode dedicated to just breaking down their film. But their defensive edge pressure is, here we go, here's the word, abysmal. Ding, 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 everybody take a shot. They're awful. They're really not good on the edge. So as far as the standpoint of what makes them special, it's Aaron Donald, who has had a great kind of Pro Bowl season, but not the Defensive Player of the Year caliber that we're used to seeing from him. Hopefully that continues into Sunday's game. But I'll say this. We're going to be okay this week. The tackles are not going to cost us the game from a pass rush standpoint. Now, does this affect our run game? Well, of course it does. It affects everything across the board. But, and I put out a couple answers on Twitter to this as well. I really do not believe that Kyle Shanahan is going to adjust his play calling in the run game. I don't think it is. The Shanahans, whether it's Daddy Shanahan or Kyle Shanahan, their scheme works, period. It's just the zone running scheme works, and because of pre-snap motions and all these things, they're able to create angles and get a very positive advantage in the run game. Now, does this mean we're going to lead the NFL in rushing and continue to do that? Hell no, we're not. But can we be a positive running team that averages north of 4 yards a carry without these three players? I think that we can. I really, really do. And luckily for us, we actually have a backfield now with incredible depth, and so we can keep rushing those guys in there. As of now, we have 3 players in the top 8 for yards per carry of the entire NFL. 3 guys. Matt Breida, all 3 of our running backs, Tevin Coleman and Raheem Mostert. Coleman looked really, really good this past week, so really, really pleased with what he was able to put out there, the product-wise. So we'll have to see what happens. Now, our interior offensive line is still very, very... How do I say this? The interior offensive line has outplayed anything that we would have thought they could have done. One of the main weaknesses going into the offseason was the guards, but Mike Person has stepped up and played wonderful. He ranked as the number 6 best player on offense this past week. So we're going to go over top 5s, bottom 5s, all those things. Aaron Donald, here's a question. You said their edge pressure is abysmal. He said that, so I'm allowed to quote him. They do put Aaron Donald on the edge sometimes. Yes, they do. Aaron Donald is wonderful, but those are going to be, he might play on the edge maybe 6 to 7 snaps a game. We will be able to help out with wherever he does go. Does that mean Aaron Donald's not going to get a sack? Hell no. He's Aaron Donald. But we've got to limit the other plays. So, the running game I don't think is adjusted near as much as everybody is expecting. I really don't believe that is the case. Now, our personnel grouping is going to change much more so because of Juszczyk than it is McGlinchey. Brunskill knows the system. Not a lot of change. He knows the playbook inside and out. He's played 3 separate positions on this offensive line throughout the offseason and preseason training camp, all that stuff. So, he is ready to go. Hey, hang in there, Kersey Parrott. I say his comment is, I hate everything. I feel you, man. Everything sucks. I feel you. And here's the deal. And, I feel like I've been doing a little bit of therapy on Twitter lately. Calm down, take deep breaths, guys and girls. It's okay. We're going to be all right. The 49ers are okay. We're 4-0, which is great. Were we going to run the table and be 16-0? Hey, man, every team in the history of the NFL wants to do it. One team has done it through the regular season. That was the Patriots, and they lost the Super Bowl that year. So what we have to do is realize this. This offense is still going to be efficient. Are we going to have bad games? Hell yeah. Are we going to have a bad game this week? It continues to trend that direction. Now, what's interesting is Vegas has not caught up to that yet. And it's funny, we opened up as soon as the Monday Night Football game ended and all of the prop bets and everything start coming out. We were 3.5-point underdogs, so we were getting points from Vegas 3.5. That has actually dropped. It's now at 3 points, and the over and under has gone up. It was at 48.5. Now it's 50.5 points. So Vegas still has not caught on. So let me say this, okay? And I don't advise doing this, but this is for you people that are super, super sad and ready to just call it quits. Here's what I'm going to say. Head over to mybookie.ag, use promo code 49ers as always, and if you really think the 49ers season is over, bet against us. Go ahead. I do not advocate that, but if that's what you want to do, put your money where your mouth is. If you're one of those complainers, the sky's falling people, head over there, take the Rams, put your money down over there, do what you got to do. But I'm telling you this right now. We have had a lot of injuries in the past. Every team in the NFL. We are not special. Now, the one area that is special about the 49ers is all of our injuries, our two most significant injuries, have happened at the same position, which is the offensive tackle. Both first rounders. That is huge. The Juszczyk injury is concerning. We are going to be using much more tight ends now. Ross Dwelly's snap count's going to shoot through the roof. Tololo's snap count's going to shoot through the roof. I think that we'll continue to see Ross Dwelly in the backfield, kind of in that Juszczyk role. Is he Juszczyk? Hell no. Nobody is. I really do wish that we could get another tackle, or we could get another fullback, but we're not going to. You don't want to mortgage the future. Again, we don't have a second-round pick, so are you comfortable trading a third-round pick for somebody? Again, who's out there? A lot of people keep throwing out Trent Williams, but again, I just tweeted this out. There was never a day in hell that the Washington Redskins were going to help out Kyle Shanahan. They hate the Shanahan family. They had one of the worst breakups ever. Whenever Daddy Shanahan was coaching there, that relationship's awful. So they would rather, this is the tweet I sent out, they would rather be the worst franchise in all of pro sports than help out Kyle Shanahan, and congratulations, they have achieved that. They're a laughingstock. They're a joke. It's so bad Trent Williams willing to lose $700,000 a week to not play for them. He's fully healthy. Finally, they tried to force him to play when he was healthy. But anyway, we're not getting him. Even if we were going to get him, we'd have to do like a first, Solomon Thomas, and a quarterback, maybe more, and then still probably couldn't get him. So that's not going to happen. I really do wish it could happen. I would pay up big time for Trent Williams, but it's not going to happen. What we are going to do is, I think Sam Young's going to be active as our swing tackle. Gosh, that's so sad. Again, the tackle position is a mess. Now, not in the run game. Again, if you look at Brunskill, he could play guard. Like, that's how efficient he is blocking in the run game. Justin School blocked very, very well in the run game. So, like, we're just okay there. The main issues is going to be in the pass game, and the easiest way to counteract that or to stop that is by throwing the ball quickly, which the 49ers have done. You know, Jimmy Garoppolo has been sacked 4 times in 4 starts, which makes him the 35th most sacked quarterback in the NFL. There's only 32 teams, so that means 3 teams have been sacked more, have 2 quarterbacks that have been sacked more times than the 49ers. So Kyle Shanahan's doing some great things. You got to move the pocket a little bit. You got to do more play action, which I'm a huge play action guy. And so more play action, more quick pass game. And I think if we do that, we're going to be just okay. And again, you rely on your backs. You rely on George Kittle. You rely on 2 tight end sets. And we're going to be okay. The offense is going to be okay. And here's the stark reality. The 2019 49ers, the defense is the strength. The defense is guiding this whole thing. You go back to the game where we have 5 damn turnovers against the Steelers, but we're still get the victory. The defense is what is making this team special. So we've got to hold on to that. And the new philosophy is this. Hey, if we score 20 points, we are going to win. We haven't allowed a team to score over 20 points yet this season. Week 1, we gave up 17. Week 2, 17. Week 3, 20. And then the awful Baker Mayfield-led Browns. I'm going to throw as much dirt on that guy as I can all season. Only 3 points. So, that's the thing. Defense is going to continue to win things. So we're going to have a full episode dedicated to the defense. But what I want to do now is I want to jump over, give Pro Football Focus some love. If you like them, if you hate them, I don't care. But what the one thing that we can take away from is their metrics are pretty solid because it gives us a good snapshot of how people played, snap counts, things like that. So let's jump in. The top 5 players according to Pro Football Focus: Matt Breida with an 83.9. 86.6. George Kittle, 82.3. Kendrick Bourne, even though he only got 16 snaps, he didn't have a drop this week, made 2 great catches, and even got some yards after the catch and broke a tackle, which was wonderful. Mike McGlinchey was the number 4 best player, 78.4. Even though he gave up a sack, even though he missed a couple blocks, he was able to decleat some guys throughout this. His run blocking grade has just been wonderful. So obviously that's going to hurt. I shouldn't have said that. Now I hurt again. I talked myself out of sadness, and now I'm back in the hole. Tevin Coleman, 75.0, and there's a lot of positive scores. So the way that Pro Football Focus kind of scores everything, if you're in the 90s, that is elite. If you are in the 80s, that is a positive starter, and 70s is a quality starter, and then once you get down to the 60s, that's where you kind of hurt your team. But these players all graded out positive. School, man, Justin School played great. He played wonderful. Marquise Goodwin, Kyle Juszczyk, and Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, the flip side of that, let's look at the negative side. Okay, the worst rated player on the offensive side for the 49ers, Levine Toilolo, only played 17 snaps. I do think that he's going to see an increase in that. And again, his problem is always run blocking. He had a 70.2 grade pass blocking and a 50.3 grade run blocking, and drew a penalty as well. Dante Pettis, oh boy, 45.6. I don't know. I have always been on the Dante Pettis bandwagon before we drafted him. I was really, really high on him coming out of college. There is something psychological going on with this guy. It has nothing to do, I don't know. It has nothing to do with his talent. It's all upstairs. You know, if he catches that slant pass in the last play of the game for the offense, game's over. And you saw Jimmy Garoppolo's reaction. He just starts cussing like crazy. He really, really does. And he is pissed off. Everybody's pissed off at him. So he's going to have to find a spot. Personally, I want Dante Pettis returning punts. That's his most natural gift to the game of football, the greatest punt returner in college football history. Let's try to see if we can build confidence slowly there, but I want his snap count to start going down. I can't believe I'm saying that. That's rough, but anyway. Roz Dwelly, 3rd worst rated player, 50.3. Richie James with the 57.9. He only played 6 snaps on offense, but he didn't really contribute anything positive there. He did have the 1 great return and then 2 dumb returns. I get a lot of flack for any time I call Richie James out on anything, but go ahead and bring the heat. That's okay. And then Daniel Brunskill, who only played 6 plays. Again, this is the difference, right? You go from the number 4 rated guy, McGlinchey, to the 5th worst player, Brunskill. And so there is a major drop-off there. And Deebo Samuel was the 6th worst with the 61.7. He continues with drops. His snap counts are going down week after week. So if we just look at snap counts from the wide receiver position, Dante Pettis led the team in snaps again with 47. Marquise Goodwin, 46. Deebo, 35. Then we go down to Kendrick Bourne, 16. And then we've got Richie James at 6. So Jordan Matthews is going to come back this week. He is going to be active in all likelihood. I could definitely see him taking some of those snaps from Dante Pettis and Richie James, which I guess Richie James is going to have to keep some snaps just to keep getting playing time. But that's what it is. Now, what I want to do now, here, let's see here. Are we going to be the same team? Here's a question real quick. Are we going to be the same team on the road with less time to prepare with the Rams, missing McGlinchey and Juice? Well, here's the deal. The one thing about the Rams, we know them very well. They've had the exact same coaching staff on offense and defense for 2 years now, the exact same amount of time that we have had our guys. So they know each other well. We've played them 4 times as a coaching staff. This will be our 5th time. So as far as install and things like that throughout the week, yeah, we're on 1 day short, which cramps everything together. But the good news is this. Both Brunskill and School have been with us all year, so they haven't missed really anything. Brunskill left for a little bit when he was waived. He was brought back, but we're going to be just okay. it always helps having more time, and we saw that in the bye week, but we're going to be just fine. I'm not too worried about that. So next question right here. Are you more concerned about our offense or defense versus the Rams? I'm not concerned about our defense. I'm not concerned about our defense at all. The Rams have the potential to be one of a top 3 offense always. They have struggled a little bit this year, but I am very excited personally. Whenever we rank the games out of the 49ers schedule. I did a whole entire schedule episode. I'd have to open up everything, but this was the number 2 most difficult game on our schedule to start the year, during the offseason. Number 1, I thought was at the Saints, and number 2 was at the Rams. So if we can get this game, shoot. If we can win this game without those 3 key players on offense on the road against the defending NFC champs, then part of my French, holy shit, it's got to be crazy. 4-0 is amazing. Nobody thought we would be here, myself included. You got to be very, very happy with the start. The Rams have struggled a little bit, obviously 3-2. They've dropped 2 games. They lost to the Tampa Bay Bucks and then to the Seattle Seahawks when they missed the field goal late. But I want to see how good our defense is. And McVay's system is one of the best in the NFL. I want to see how we're going to manage going against 3 stud wide receivers and a great offensive line. Now, you can say whatever you want about Jared Goff. I'm not the biggest Goff fan. However, he is very efficient and a system quarterback. So if we can get pressure on Jared Goff, then our defense is as advertised, and it's going to be wonderful. What are the keys to the game? Again, I've watched all of the Rams games, but I haven't watched their coaches' film, and I haven't broke down their tendencies or anything. So I want to hold off to that. I'll have that episode probably come out Friday or Saturday. It seems like whenever I do Saturday episodes, you guys love it a lot more. Anyway, I teach. I'm helping out with stuff all day Saturday at the school I'm at, but I'll find a way to get something out Friday or Saturday for sure. So we'll get something coming to you guys. Next question. Any doubt we can stop the run and sack their quarterback? Stop the run 100%. Zero concern. We might have the best run defense in the NFL, which is crazy whenever you look how great our running offense is. Our team's finally complementary of each other on both sides, which is wonderful. That's exactly what you want. And again, these numbers are different. I tweeted this out, but here are our offensive ranks through 4 weeks, and these are per game basis, not overall. So points scored, we are 2nd in the NFL. Total yards, 4th in the entire NFL in yards per game. Now, if we look at first down, 7th. Now, we don't throw the ball very much. We've only attempted the 30th most passes, so there's only 2 teams that throw the ball less than us. However, we are better than average in touchdown passes, and we're 4th in the NFL in net yards per pass attempt. Again, Kyle Shanahan brings this efficiency to the offense to where you don't have to pass the ball like crazy, but whenever you do pass the ball, it's going to be very efficient. We are at 7.7 yards per attempt. That is wonderful. Anything over 7 is great. We're only allowing 5 yards per attempt. So for every pass attempted by them, we get an additional 2.7 yards. You love to be on the positive side of that. We lead the league in rush yards and rushing attempts. We are the most run-heavy team in the NFL. 57% of our plays are running plays so far. Will that change with these 3 guys out? I don't think it does, but obviously our yards per attempt are going to go down, which we are 6th in the NFL, averaging 5.2 yards per carry. I looked, all of the teams above us have all played Miami. So by far the worst team in the NFL, them are the Redskins. We're going to find out this week, but 5.2 yards per carry on 154 attempts that's bananas. We have exactly 800 yards rushing through 4 games. So we are averaging exactly to the yard, 200 yards per game. No way we can maintain that season long, even if everybody was healthy. But man, you've got to love that. One thing that I thought was really interesting as well, we lead the entire NFL in starting field position. We start at our average start is at the 33.2. And a big reason why we have that, again, trying to focus on the offense, is because we lead the NFL in turnovers. What the hell? How did we go from the worst team in the history of the NFL in forced turnovers to leading the NFL in turnovers? So it's fascinating to say the least, just the difference a few players make. Our pass rush, with D Ford, who again, not playing many snaps. His knee flared up over the bye week. Had some issues. He's not getting a lot of snaps. I think he had 17. But Bosa, good gosh, just got named NFC Defensive Player of the Week, and he lost a sack. Should have had 3 sacks instead of 2, but anyway, that's what it is. All right, so couple things that I just want to talk about real quick as we get into this with pressures. So here's the deal. I don't understand how we have been able to keep Jimmy Garoppolo upright so well, but it's been wonderful. We gave up 1 sack, and he didn't get hit the rest of the game. Myles Garrett got in his face one time, but it wasn't even classified as a hit. We only allowed 5 pressures total outside of that sack. So absolutely great job up front from the entire offensive line. And then you can't even give it just to the 5 guys, our offensive linemen. We have tight ends coming in. We have fullbacks helping out. We have running backs helping out. And, I'm not the biggest Tevin Coleman fan, but golly, he played wonderful. And he got a couple great blocks. I don't know if you could see one of them on here. They're on the feed if you're watching it on YouTube or Twitter. He just totally steps up and pancakes a guy. He played wonderful. Now, the rushing grades obviously are going to just be stupid. Matt Breida forced 3 missed tackles, Tevin Coleman 2, Raheem Mostert 2, George Kittle 1. He only had 1 rushing attempt on the tight end around / jet sweep. I don't think you can call it a jet sweep, whatever. It's a tight end, maybe a jumbo sweep or something. He's not a blazer. But we were able to force a lot of missed tackles, 8 alone in the running game. And Tevin Coleman had 5 runs for 10 yards or more on 16 carries. Just wonderful job. He put up 55 yards after contact, Matt Breida 23 yards after contact, and Mostert 26 yards after contact, even though he only got 7 carries. But I love this formula. I would prefer Matt Breida to obviously have way more snaps and way more touches, but as long as Breida's healthy, our team's going to be just fine. Now, as far as the workload goes, Breida got 11 rush attempts, Coleman 16, and Raheem Mostert only got 7. I think that we're going to stay kind of with that formula. I don't think it's going to change too much. Now, from just a schematic standpoint, we loved running the ball off of the right side of our offense. We had 7 rush attempts right behind the right guard and 7 off of McGlinchey's kind of hip and the tight end to that side. Those were the 2 most targeted areas in the running game. And it wasn't so much like we were staying away from Justin School. The very first play of the game where Breida takes it to the house, we run it right behind Justin School, lined up against Myles Garrett. What a absolutely wonderful coaching decision to build confidence on a young rookie starting the left tackle against one of the best players in the NFL. Just wonderful. So it's something to look at. Just the way that Kyle Shanahan has these guys believing in themselves is pretty special. And it doesn't matter who it is. Now, what do you do with Brunskill out there? I don't know. We will just have to wait and see for sure there. Now, passing grades, do want to highlight just a couple things about Jimmy Garoppolo. So efficient. Definitely had a wonderful... He did have 1 dropped pass. He had another batted pass, and then he got a sack. But he was efficient everywhere. 1 for 1 on deep passes. That's the touchdown to George Kittle. And whenever I say deep passes, these are balls that traveled more than 20 yards in the air before they got to the wide receiver. He was 1 for 1 on that. And he was great from 10 to 20 as well. He goes 5 for 10. Sorry. My math is wrong there. Anyway, he goes 6 for 11 in passes traveling 10 plus yards. Didn't have any problems whatsoever. Up front, they blitzed like crazy. They blitzed 10 times throughout the course of the game, and, they weren't our best plays. Jimmy Garoppolo goes 2 for 5, but a lot of those happened at the end in the second half whenever he would see the pressure coming, and the few passes, one of them was a back foot throw to Kittle. He just decided, you know what, be safe. The only way we're going to lose this game is if I try to force stuff, and he didn't force it. He really didn't. Jimmy Garoppolo usually has quite a few 50-50 balls, but he didn't have any this game. He really, really didn't. But with no pressure, he goes 18 for 24, 151 yards, and 2 touchdowns. We're not going to see the same thing next week against Wade Phillips. Wade Phillips is going to be bringing some pressure for sure. Now, couple things that I do want to bring up before I jump off. 2 major announcements. Number 1, I am going to be at the game with my family this week. It is in LA. I live in Pasadena, so I'm taking the whole Chapman family out there. So the after reaction show is going to take some time. But if you are in the LA area or you're wanting to go down there, I'm going to be taking part in the LA Takeover. It's on Facebook. It's $15. There's no pre-tickets, but you can go join it, and it shows you the map and where they're going to be meeting up. But it's $15. That covers food and a couple beers. So if you would like to meet up, I'll be out there as soon as gates open probably. So I'll be wearing my 49ers Rush shirt. So if you see me out there, please come say hi. I'd love to just kind of drink a beer and talk football with everybody and just put a face to all the people that are on here. And also I want to give a shout out to the FFF on Facebook, the 49ers Faithful Forum, which I have recently joined. Reached out to those guys. I love what they do. And one of my favorite things about them is it brings the fans together through a different format. Obviously, I have the podcast and the video and that stuff, but it's a great way just for fans to argue back and forth like some of you guys are doing right now in the comments section. So again, 49ers Faithful Forum, go join them on Facebook if you're a Facebook user. Awesome conversations, learning a lot just through talking back and forth with the other fans and the faithful. So just a couple things to look forward to there, but I've got a lot of stuff coming up. As you can see, we continue to add more and more multimedia to everything that is the 49ers Rush podcast. I really do want this to be something that's special. So if you guys have any ideas or stuff that you want me to kind of put up there, please let me know, because I'm going to try to find a way to get you guys the best content, whatever the hell that is. I'm awful with technology, but we're figuring some stuff out, and I want to keep bringing all of this kind of stuff to you guys. Just because I think it's fun, and we have the best fan base out there, so why not figure out ways to get them what they want? A couple other questions before I jump off. We've played against the Rams defense before. What is the biggest problem facing them? Definitely interior pressure and long sustained drives on the opposite side. One of the things that McVay is great at is he is able to sustain very, very long drives because it's an efficient system, and his passing combinations, his route combinations are very, very difficult to defend, because if you're in man, he's going to find out and pick you apart. If you're in zone, he's going to find out and pick you apart. He is wonderful. I don't want to get into a McVay love fest, but as a former defensive coach, those are the kind of guys, Kyle Shanahan, Andy Reid, McVay, these are the type of coaches that just scare the hell out of you. Probably got to put Frank Reich up there too. He's been wonderful. What will the 49ers do with the losses of McGlinchey and Kyle? Again, this question we talked about earlier, but I don't think we're bringing anybody new in. And I think the biggest change is going to take place in the passing game. You got to keep using quick passes and more play action passes to stretch the field vertically. So more play action, and then again, a lot of just quick pass game stuff. I don't think the run game changes too much. We'll have 2 tight ends. That's going to be the biggest change on almost every play. And I do think that we will motion out where we'll look like we're in 22 personnel or 21 personnel or 12 personnel, because Ross Dwelley will be used as a fullback, and we'll motion out into empty sets, or we'll line up in empty sets and then motion back into a jumbo type look. So it's going to be a lot of that stuff going back and forth. Real quick, what is going on with our kicking game? Holy cow, great question. I went back and looked at all the kicks today from the end zone angle because, the NFL finally released the footage. It took them a while, but the game was on Monday night. The first kick was a perfect snap, a perfect hold, bad kick. Okay. Second one was a bad snap. Third one wasn't the best snap, but it probably was going to be good, and it got blocked. So that was a bad protection on Eric Armstead. It wasn't awful protection. He did slow him down, which is he controlled the inside gap, which is first responsibility being on the outside. He just didn't get to extend and slow down the outside speed rusher. So yeah, first one, kicker fault. You got to put that on Robbie Gould. It was a long kick, but still should have made it. Second one was a bad snap. Third one, bad protection. Not a great snap. So we don't get our suspended long snapper back until week 13. So we have a while. I think actually week 12. Week 12. He's on a 10-game suspension plus the bye week. We get him back week 10. All right, then. A couple more questions before I jump off. Just want to say thank you again to everybody. This is awesome. The question, Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan, not close. Kyle Shanahan, 100%. It's Kyle Shanahan. It's not close. Not close, not close. Kyle Shanahan. I love the arguing going on in the Twitters, lots of cuss words. That's wonderful. Love that stuff. But anyway, just want to say thanks as always, guys. We've got a lot more stuff coming up. I'm hoping to release 2 different video breakdowns this week. Why not? Let's just keep adding to the plate of the Niners Rush. And if you haven't already, please head over to NinersRush.com. We just put up another article that is awesome. And if you haven't already followed me on Twitter at JL_Chapman, that is there for you as well. But we will be back with you tomorrow with the defensive breakdown, snap counts, pressures, all that kind of stuff, and more questions. Hopefully we get a little bit more answers into what's going to be taking place this Sunday. But until then, just want to say thank you all. Really appreciate all the support that's growing. This podcast it's blowing up. So just want to say thank you everybody for that. But until then, I will be talking with you guys soon. Stay strong, faithful.